Hello, everybody. How's it going? Alex, welcome. Thank you for the sub. Sorry, I don't know where to look or where I should be talking. This time around, I'm running a very different setup to what I'm used to. Let me move the microphone a little bit more. I probably sound like I'm coming out the back of the mic. That I can't do much about. I'm afraid. I can't actually rotate on the stand my mic around enough because of the way the cables and some of the bits stick in it. So you're just gonna have to deal with me sort of talking from one side, unfortunately. How are people doing though? This is definitely a first doing a stream like this for me, and getting it all set up has been nightmarish to say the least. I hope things are lit okay enough for what I can do. I don't have a proper light I can put on the desk right now to light things up, but I'll show you what we're working on today, because I promised to do this for a long time, and I worked a lot this week to do it. So we have a model here. Let me put this behind it, in fact, the little sheet of the character. Commissar Severina. The instructions to build it were awful. And most of the flash and stuff on it also awful. Really unpleasant to build. Not gonna lie, it wasn't the greatest fun to build, and I ended up having to use green stuff for the first time ever, both liquid and the putty, which was a learning experience. So, basically, you can't really see it very well here, but where the breastplate ends, where the waist begins, I had a massive gap because the instructions weren't very clear about the idea that I had to. I'm gonna move my phone down where my palette is right now, so I can see chat in front of me. Yeah. So that in that gap somewhere is a bunch of green stuff, because it turns out the cloak was actually supposed to sit lower down and doesn't actually sit flush with the rest of the waist. This was not very easily shown in the instructions. There they are. Not very clear. And it's not until 2 steps later do you fit the torso and then find out, oh shit, you fucked up. Bad instructions, but we've got a nice little colour guide in here, of which I didn't buy any new sit-down paints for. I hope the camera quality is okay. It claims it's a 1080p webcam, but honestly, every time I look at it, it looks really grainy. So I hope it's okay. I need some feedback on that. But yeah, I got some. I went out and bought for the first time some Vallejo paints for this, because I know Vallejo and Army Painter stuff is good. I sprayed it all with Army Painter. Vallejo's got the little droppers, so I'm gonna, I won't be using those. So a lot of the model's going to be black. I know we base painted it black, but we will add some more black to it anyway. And a lot of silver and reds and gold and brassy colours. I don't think I've actually got the gold colours on me properly at the moment, but I've got a base colour for it, so let's start. Let's find some lead belch. Standard grey, maybe. I don't think what's the base colour I'd use. Lead belcher. Here we go. Start with some of this. Give it a good shake. We got some background music for this. Yeah, hopefully it is as non-copyright or as copyright-free as they claim. So I have this. I used to collect the magazines for a while, which was like a get-started guide almost. I didn't play Warhammer for a long time, but they were just better value for getting stuff. And they gave me one of these. I've never used them before, but I know a lot of people have. we got magnets on that. How, like, is there a good way of opening that up? Yeah, you know. Okay, that'll do. There we go. So hopefully, in this thing, because I've heard these are good. Okay, so get a somewhat small brush. Got a palette. Over because it's a bit further away. This setup is a bit not ideal. Should work. Paint a little bit. Hopefully, be able to see what I'm doing as I do it. I'm struggling in this light to see myself. So with some of this stuff going on here, I make it a little easier to see the model, you know? Let's get a colour and base silver for now. Everything to, like, I want all the metal bits to be sort of standing out right now. I'm going to extend the metal to the green stuff area that I worked on. Probably going to stand out and not be, like, look as smooth. Hey ho, we do the best with what we got, you know? My first time using this putty, I got no tools for it. I literally used a pair of tweezers in my hands to, you know, do this kind of thing. So it was a learning experience. It took ages to mix the pie, actually. I was really surprised. And I had to, like, look up the curing times and all that for it. Because packets didn't really tell me any information. Like, you'd think your packet of, like, modelling pie would tell you how long it takes to cure, but no, it does not. Some of you who might have played played and painted minis before might be looking at the fact that I haven't drilled out the barrels. Yes. And the answer to that is pretty simple. I could not be bothered and did not have the time. I do have a little drill somewhere, but I've never drilled a barrel out in my life. I didn't get the drill until I went to do my Imperial Guard Army, which is where I got this little mini for. And then I quit Warhammer and sold it all off, so light is really bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the table around a bit so that I'm bringing it onto the camera more, because when I looked across, it, like, barely see what I'm doing sometimes. This is very much a budget BTEC stream right now. Focus isn't too good. It is an auto-focusing camera. I can't, unfortunately, like, make it focus. There's no manual control over that, otherwise I would have done so. This camera cost me like 15 quid. It's not great. I really could do with a better camera or positioning it better. But let's see if we can get it. Okay. More. How are you, Alex, anyway? Oh, and yeah, it's right under my shoulder. This is the only problem with it being positioned here. I can no longer move my shoulder in certain ways. Thank you for the 13-month subs, by the way. It was wild finding out last night that been over a year now since affiliate. I always appreciate the support that you and Ocelot have always given me over the time, as well as all the new faces and subscribers and all that have popped up over time. Nodge as well, you've always supported me a lot. I know you're probably at work right now, so you're not hearing this, and you probably won't even see this, but we call it out because you deserve it. He was insane, and was a big donor for our charity streams. You're actually, I do want to talk about the charity stuff in a minute, but I think we go through these rambling thoughts first. That's fair. I'm good. Finally, time to rest. Hey, nice. your course letting up? Like, is your course still stopping because of summer holiday? Because I know it's like an apprentice course, right? Is it stopped? Like, I don't know how it works for you. Like, do you get a break for summer holiday, or is it just like what the course is dying down or running out of time, or you're registered, work on it? Brushes maybe. Keep hitting the camera. How do people do this? Like, make a camera setup which isn't in the way. This camera is basically under my cheek right now. I'm getting very intimate with this camera. But yeah, to address the charity stuff, I'm a little bit sad. So those of you who sort of actively follow, obviously the last two charity events we did was raising money for humanitarian aid in Ukraine because of the ongoing conflict right now. And unfortunately, there's been the Red Cross, which we raised the money for, has been in the news for a couple things. Some of it's not hit mainstream, surprisingly. And some of it I'm waiting to be verified if ever is true. But there was a Red Cross warehouse in Odessa that got hit with a strike, and as far as I'm aware, most of their goods in the warehouse probably got destroyed with it, which is was a shame to hear about. But also, there are reports coming out, and I don't know how true they are yet. I need to do more research and more verification of it. But Red Cross has, unfortunately, don't take this in the wrong context, because humanitarians for every side, like humanitarian aid, civilians of all sides of the conflict, like help. There's been there's pictures and reports, and I don't know how true it is, of things like tablets and computers, stuff which is kind of important for warfighting nowadays, being handed out, and being handed out specifically to Russian forces. As I said, I don't know how true this is. Because I need to follow up and do more research on it. But if it is true, I feel kind of very disappointed on that. Like, chose humanitarian aid specifically because I feel funny about asking for money, stuff to do with actual direct conflict fighting, even though I do support like all the means of arming and preparing the Ukrainians to fight. But at the same time, we've seen how it's building up. So yeah, I have since found some other charities. So if I do some more in the future, of guys who not only are kind of like they post what they do, nice. It helps show that your money's going to good use, not kind of nebulous. But also, So a big problem with large large organized charities is that they are responsible for the people under them, and so they're going to do things which aren't going to like, because it risks the guys underneath them, and it's their job to make sure that their guys are safe as well as they're doing their job. Which means they don't reach into they're considered to not reach into areas a lot of the time which are most important to reach to, and look like they're playing it safe. But there are charities out there I found which are people who are themselves going out to the areas which need it most and doing stuff for it. So I'm putting a second layer on some of this stuff. next time we do a charity event, if we're doing another Ukraine-based one, I will definitely be picking one of those sort of charities which have a lot more accountability and like are doing more to help people in the more affected areas. Because I think that's the most important thing. That's that's why I choose humanitarian aid stuff. Because you need help in those areas, and if major charities can't get out there because of the way their organisation works, but someone else is doing it, then we should support them. Fortunately, things aren't always as quite as simple as they seem. And charity stuff is always awkward because of that. Not to shit on the charities we donated and the money we raised, I'm sure it's done stuff to help, but it's still, as I'm the one calling the shots and choosing the charity that we're raising the money for, that's, it's on me to do better, check this stuff, and, camera, it's loosened them out now. If we do another charity stream, it probably won't be until near the end of the year. I'd like to sort of do 2 a year if I can. I don't know what we'll do it for the next time. We might do it something different, or we might try and I might wait and see if Jingle Jam is opening up again for the public. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because that was a big thing for it last time. And if it is, I will probably join in with Jingle Jam again, because I always like it when I can help in some way, give, or there's a way for donations to give back to you guys too. Even if it's for charity cases, I always feel weird for asking for money. Why, when Orchid asked about when am I going to do a subathon, even if it's jokingly, the idea feels weird to me. When it comes to the financial stuff, yes, I would like to earn money through doing this because it does take a lot of time. I'm unemployed and my business isn't exactly great, but at the same time, I don't feel like I do anything special or enough to earn that money from doing this. So I don't, I never expect this to be a career. I don't think that even remotely on the cards. But actually, I'm thinking I might want to go into learn and see if I can save with me. There we go. Thinking about, I don't know how possible it is for me because I wouldn't be able to formally learn it in any way, shape, or form now. So somehow get into a uni course, I guess, maybe. Learning 3D animation, trying to get into an industry, whether as part of a SFX company or maybe a game company. I'm not so thrilled about. I like games. I was interested in making games in the past. I don't think it's where I would want to work as a career though. Working in the games industry. Think about it, just I don't know. It's not completely off the cards. If the opportunity arose, I might take it. I don't know how I'd feel about it. I feel like in some sort of animation media would be better, but or at least more aligned with what I'm interested in, if you get what I mean. Yeah, next colour. Get my space red on some of this cloak. And on some of the gun, it seems. Be difficult. Right. Actually, my base is now red, so let's go with that for now. We'll crack out any of the layers. This is for those of you who aren't aware of the current like schedule stuff as well. This is the first stream of the day. But my friend Blake, like Dharma, I think it is on Twitch. They are debuting a live 2D model today, and I'm also like straight after their debut, I'm playing Starship Troopers with them, which is going to be fun. You know, they're the new Starship Troopers Extermination game. I'm looking forward to it. I've known we've had so many people in the groups have been like, oh yes, we want to play this, but we want to squad up. We were waiting for friends to get it, and like nobody was making the first move. I can't say I was the one to make the first move fully because Blake messaged me saying, you know, they were going to most likely get it on Saturday. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, let's get the ball rolling. I guess I'll buy it now. Have it installed and ready, and that might encourage more people to get it. Then. No? Sometimes people just need a little bit of encouragement. Whole cloak, I think it's black, but there is a red ribbon up of here. Oh yeah, my hands are in the way. Sorry, this is my first time doing this, and this is experience for me altogether. Like, not only paint, but like try and show you what I'm doing. Let me know if the music needs turning up. By the way, I don't know how loud it is for you. Currently got a few reduced decibels on the player right now from the last thing I was streaming. But actually, not even the last thing. I think before Elden Ring. That last night's stream was insane. We had so many people in. It's really weird because I never expected to see so many people in my chat. And I know a lot of it comes from being raided, but the fact that people stuck around was, you know, that was something new for me. Really surprised that people were like so many people were willing to stick around and watch me just suffer in the game, but like, you know, deal with my shit in general. It was a really nice moment for me. I'm really thankful for all the streamers who trusted me with their communities, and for all those who stuck around. That was nice. Hopefully we see some more of them, like some of the good new guys who followed in that time. Maybe we'll see some tonight with Blake's stream. Nice red in on the gun. It's a bit messy, but going in there. Painting the black on is going to be a strange experience. I've never had to paint so much black on a mini. Got red cuffs or colours. Yeah, cuffs too. Looks like the top of the head might even, or at least the edge of the hat is red. What we'll do is we'll start by painting the entire top of the hat red. I'm liking this music so far. It's nice and chill. It's kind of spacey feel. Originally, I was gonna just have like music blasting in my headphones and have the sounds muted, but I remembered my alerts wouldn't play for me and you guys if that was the case. Not without doing something to my audio setup, and also it'd be a really quiet stream for you guys, and I think that'd be boring. at least at the moment, you can just kind of have the stream on and have it vibe in the background. Trying to get into these areas. Sword. There's definitely a benefit to be had for things like afterwards, or like, you know, partially assembling and then painting them. Yeah, nice detailed version of what we can see here. So it's gonna do actually. I'm gonna get some a bit more brush. The paint's drying out a little bit. There we go. Very rough red in here. Guys who like make these models super detailed, they're insane. Like, I'm always impressed with what they managed to achieve, because, you know, trying it myself is incredibly difficult. I don't know how they manage it. It's lots of years of practice, and you know, and it's using color, and I'm really bad at using color. But this is one thing I really struggle with when I do my own art, is like how to use color effectively. It's skill, and you know, you gotta know color theory. I vaguely learned at the basic, like the very basics of the basics of it. I don't know. It's all well and good knowing it, but like knowing how to apply it is a whole different. You know, the difference between theory and application of a subject is quite. That's where the challenge comes in. Like, you can know something in theory, but doing it is difficult. That's something I definitely struggle with, because I can grasp the theory of a lot of things, like a lot of skills that I try to go for. Like, I understand what we're trying to do, but actually doing it, yeah, I really suck at the doing phase. Like, when I was doing volleyball, I used to watch a lot of videos on, you know, how to spike properly, how to set properly, how to receive properly. Learning all the little tips and tricks for it. But when it came to actually doing, it was really difficult for me still. Like, I wasn't doing well. Like, you know, it's all good knowing how the body should be and where the body should be. Getting the body to go to those places and do those things in the first place. Which is difficult, because actually the first time I did anything volleyball-wise, it was at my uniform public service course. We had to take a sports session. Like, we had to instruct a sports session. Now, I didn't play sports then, and the only sports I had played is football, really. A little bit of football, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of rugby. Football was the one I knew the most of, though, because my dad is a big football fan, and I used to go to football when I was younger. But I'm not a fan of football. And I'm kind of okay with, I like playing basketball, but I don't know anything about it. And rugby, I barely had any experience. And everyone was pretty much doing rugby and football, and it was like, okay, we're just going to have a lot of the same. And, you know, I want to do something different. I want to try something new. And I was getting interested in volleyball at the time. Like, this seems interesting. Why don't I look into it and see if I can understand the theory of it? We'll just try and build a session off of it. And surprisingly, you know what, considering I'd never done it before, I went out and got a friend and we did some practice. I could, at the very least, do something as basic as receive the ball, like at a minimal usable level, I'd call it. Enough to be able to demonstrate I occasionally pull off in practice. And the session went alright. From what I heard from the other guys, they actually enjoyed it. They had fun with it. Enough so that we were able to play 2 sorts of games of it. One which was led by me, as in like I had to do the it was part of our coursework. I had to do the instructing of it. And then another one, they had fun with it. They decided to play another one where I could actually join in. Good fun, and I ended up eventually going to volleyball. Fortunately, COVID and other health issues have got in the way of that. But I am actually planning to return to volleyball now. I need to contact my old volleyball club, find out where they're training nowadays and what times. I won't be able to do it this week because I'm off on a trip during the same day they normally, as far as I'm aware, they still train. Going out to visit, I think it's the repair shop or something like that. It's very much a British TV program. Bunch of people all in the shed who, they're all skilled craftsmen, feel quite older. It's all on like a heritage site, I think, which is all about like preserving these sort of older traditions and skills, from like old school baking to leatherworking, sewing, metalworking. I think we're going up there to visit. Should be fun. Yeah, it will be nice to go back to volleyball. I'm trying to get back into shape. Between not having a job, between COVID, and not like my legs still being a problem since my military prep college, so I can't run. Fitness has unfortunately slowly been slipping and getting a bit of a belly now. And I really don't like having a belly. I've got myself some weights, so occasionally, not as much as I wanted to, but I am doing weights a couple of times a week at least now. I'm finding it very hard to get back into the fitness stuff because I am so far out of shape that after I do one session, I'm sort of like, I want to say dead for the rest of the week. I will be struggling to wake up. I'm that kind of exhausted. But we get there slowly. Trying to get back into shape as well. I gained so much weight. Well, yeah, I feel you. Once I was no longer able to do cardio, my weight shot up while I was still doing fitness lessons. I shot up to I was anything between 80 and 90 kilos at any one point. Bear in mind, I had some muscle on me at that time. I wasn't jacked, but I was built enough where I could carry most things. I could carry people a lot heavier than me, and do that sort of stuff that I needed. I would be what you would call serviceable. Whereas now I probably weigh about the same amount, maybe up to 100, but I've lost most of that muscle. And it's not nice. It sucks. But that is my own fault between poor diet and lack of exercise. Which is why we're trying to change it. Fortunately, poor health had me from doing anything for a while, but it turns out a lot of it was anxiety coming out in really weird, horrific physical conditions. For those of you who followed me long term, you might know about I talked about the chest pains and things like that I was having. It was stopping me from going to the gym. Every time I went to the gym, I would get really bad chest pains and stuff. Even after just small amounts of exercise. After lots and lots of doctors' investigations, while we never formally came to a conclusion on anything, it's very strongly suspected it is just anxiety, which is kind of... It's one of those things which is well, that's good, but also that's bad because it stopped me so much, and the situation caused me to be more anxious, and it became a feedback loop. Anxiety can be a bitch when it presents physical symptoms. It was presenting actual physical symptoms. It wasn't just me feeling like my chest was hurty, panicking me that way. it was actually like my blood pressure was increasing with it and all that, and my body's ability to physically what's it like recover from fitness was severely hampered actually. Like exercise that I would have been able to do fine before, like just a few minutes of running would leave me drained and like dying. And I know some of that is just not being in shape, but there is a limit to how far not being in shape can take you. A 10-minute gentle jog on a treadmill should not leave you like dead, like you had a full workout session and like struggling to recover for the next few days. It was horrible, but now that I have home gym, it's a lot easier to do. I just have to deal with the really high levels of exhaustion and fatigue. Like I don't know if there's something in my family because my sister has chronic fatigue. Like she's been diagnosed with chronic fatigue. I don't know if there's something there, and that I just was able to power through it when I was a bit younger. I like even when I was fit, I seemed to tire out a lot faster than anyone else around me. College, which was a problem, but I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, it's time to lay down. I would keep trying, keep going, pushing as far as I could, but it wasn't like I was able to like. It wasn't like I was able to keep up at all. It felt very much like I'd hit in a way an upper limit. Probably hadn't, but there's definitely stuff I could have done to improve in hindsight. At the time, it felt like I was, throwing everything at it and still going nowhere. Not that I minded, I was in a decent shape. Some things kept improving, but unfortunately, like with the problem, like once my legs got fucked over by something, to this day I still don't know what's up with my legs. The doctors have just told me to wear insoles. The insoles kind of just like make them hurt less in day-to-day life, but they never fix the insoles never fix the problem. I got tired of just chasing the doctors over it because it's not going to go anywhere. Like I've seen podiatrists, I've seen therapists and all that. They just tell me, where these insoles you can buy off Amazon, be fine. It's just never got better. I can't run. There's no way around it. Within 5 to 10 minutes of running, I will be in so much pain that it's like it becomes near impossible to carry on. I can stretch it out for a bit and it makes it feel better, but it's like every time I run, it's like someone taking a steel bat and bashing it against my shins with every step. Not a pleasant experience, I can promise you. It's not just me being a little bitch. It's like there's genuinely something up. Getting someone to actually look into it and take it seriously is a whole nother problem. Because it's been going on for 3 years now, I want to say, or coming up to 3 years. Even my instructors knew something was up because I went from a run time of like minutes 30 doing a mile and a half to barely being able to like keep it under 16 minutes. And my score declined really rapidly too. It wasn't just like over 6 months I lost that. It was a case of literal weeks. It's not pleasant, but running's not on my priority list nowadays. Ed will probably go back on it when I do volleyball again. But as for you, Alex, how are you planning? Like, what sort of? I know you ride your bike, right? Is that your plan for keeping the weight down now? Like purely bike stuff, or you do archery too, actually, don't you? Which is also good for you. A lot of pacing back and forth, a lot of upper body strength. You've got some good hobbies which will help you keep that weight down at least. But pasta now, ooh, what sort of pasta? Got on it. I've got meatballs tonight for dinner, I think. We're doing intermittent fasting and oh, fair, that's a good way of doing it. I've never tried. Because I've never tried dieting stuff. So, I'm in the camp of more of exercise and just portion control is usually the best way to do it. That's my that's my own personal preference and how these things should be done. Everybody's different and everyone has a different methodology of doing it. So, ooh, can't say I've had it before. I have to redo some bread later, but I knew that once the black is fully on it. Okay. We fully paint the black. We should hopefully never have to paint it again. I imagine my paintbrush and my hand keep getting in the front of the camera a lot. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm trying my hardest not to do it, but it's kind of unconscious. I think I would struggle if I was on a diet. Like my diet is better nowadays, but I'm still kind of limited, and I would get bored and frustrated. I think dieting. It's largely parmesan, tomato, and garlic. Oh, that sounds good. I'm in my piano chair and I'm hunched over doing this. I just sat up straight and my shoulders just screamed at me, reminding me that I may be young, but I'm getting older, and I'm being out of shape. It's made it worse. I always no matter even without the camera, I'm always hunching when I'm doing mini stuff. That's just let me agree a bit higher, so that I try and encourage myself not to hunch so much. Blake, yo, how's it going? Welcome. How have you been? I know you've been getting ready for your what's it called? Your debut today. You've been doing your slideshow and stuff. I don't remember which one of these colours is what. I'm gonna have to guess this. Must be the. Yeah. Guess we go with some. Whatever colour this is, tan. Yeah, tan. Yeah, I think that was the equivalent of Buckman's Glow. I woke up by a fire truck or one of those sounds. Oh, okay. Someone's having an emergency in your area when it at least there's a route to you. But do you not know how nice it is to have one of these fucking little nipple dropper things on a paint? Probably not the best way to describe it, but way more control with it all. Ooh, this is smooth. I've never used Jelly paint before, but this feels nice. See what we can do, eh? Nice flesh tones in here. Might be a bit awkward for you guys to see because it's awkward for me to see. Hopefully I'm not getting my face at all in the camera. Not that I'm can't see anything. Okay, good to know. I'm trying. Oh, this is actually a glove. Okay. I guess I have to come back and put some more black on that in a minute. Wearing a glove for both hands. Not not exactly clear. Looks like she might be. She's wearing a lot of black with just mostly highlights. Yeah, paint on the old face. I think next time I do this, I'm going to, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to set it up on my left shoulder. How was your nap anyway, Blake, before you were woken by the sirens? Really chill today? I'm normally chill. Like, I don't feel like you need to be locked up for hey. It depends on what I'm doing, you know? I've got to be energetic for stream a little bit. And you guys always keep me on my toes, you know? Like, you guys are the real chaos factor and I'm just keeping up with you. That little gap. But yeah, I'm feeling chill today. Like, I'm definitely stressed getting this already. I had to go find all the, like, my spray paint was missing. I had to finish sanding and cleaning up the model. I had to do so much fixing of this model. It was really painful to have to keep fixing this model. You know, it's worth it because now is just the time to relax, brush to model, you know, click to resin. I got more stuff. I think I'm gonna try and do like regular mini painting. I will definitely have to improve the setup. Let me. Camera, you gotta focus. Lighting's really poor. I think over time I'm going to try and find like a better way to light this. And I think get a better camera again. I might put like, if I can find a decent camera, I might put it up on Chrome or something, I don't know. Just going to the shop to grab a monster nose. Yeah, we paint the nose on. I put way too much paint on the palette for this flesh shade though. I feel bad about that. Wasted so much fucking paint. I don't think I've got any. Actually, no, I've got a few stony colours, so we'll do that in a sec. But let me just get the black on the gloves. But I found out that she's wearing gloves. Of course, she is. Ooh! And just look the camera up and into the floor. My room's a bit of a mess, and I don't want to see the mess. Okay, we've kind of reset the camera. I have to clean that paint off the floor later. It's always awkward. I think most of the paint off my brush went onto the floor. Kind of funny to you that you recognise the room now. Yeah, I imagine that must be strange. Like, obviously you've come around my house and you know, took the long trip from Germany just to come see my gremlin ass, as well as a few other people, I suppose. And yeah, it must be weird for you to kind of see it again at this time through Twitch, knowing the exact layout of it. Like, fuck it. Like, this summer things have been hot, so I've got a few shirts laying around. But like, you know, got my piano area over here. So like, for those of you, I do play piano. At least try to. I might switch to doing some piano in a minute. Like once I've once we've got so far with the painting, like if we've got time, might do some of that. Right now, my instructor's giving me like a Lord of the Rings song to learn. It's called In Dreams. I'm just learning like the first 3 bars of it. I'm not nothing amazing going on with it, but yeah, it is what it is. It's practice. I only got it this week to start learning, so I have my next lesson in 2 days. One's there. I will definitely have for next weekend. I will have a better setup. I promise that. At least. Setup is still very. I didn't think about it at the time. I just got it set up, not realizing that I'm going to. Oh, my arm hand will be in the way of most of the things I'm painting. I should have tested it before a little bit, but. Okay, we're getting there. So next, I'm actually going to do some of the base terrain stuff. I've got like a brush for it too, because I want a bigger brush for doing that. Let's see, what colors do we have? A layer. We need a base color right now. We got, but I don't know what it does. I need to check it. I must have left my standard grey back in the other room. It looks like we might not have a base color, but that's fine. We're there was some Eshin grey. Gonna start painting some of the stone on, and then afterwards, like I think this sealed up. Fuck me, I can't get this little shit open. I think I've got a second pot of Eshin grey up here, so. Oh, there's my Mechanica standard. Never mind. This is a bit of a long poofy blush, so I don't know how well this will work, but we'll give it a go. Is Monarch a flavour of Monster? I genuinely don't know, because I don't drink it. I don't typically drink energy drinks. I've never had a Monster in my life. I used to drink Lucozade Energy as a kid. And nowadays I don't like this brush. Brush is a bit too long and silly. I think we need to change brush. Let's change brush. Don't know what for now. Guess we're just gonna keep using the same brush we've been using this whole time. Like, yeah, the only time I drink energy drinks now is something like Gamer Sups. And most of the time I drink the non-caffeinated version anyway. It's actually kind of rarish for me to touch energy drinks. It's a juice, so no fizz, so it's better for me. But better how, like it, so you won't get get gas and wind. Or is there something that's actually slightly healthier about it? And if you had an energy drink at my college, the instructors found it, you would have that poured down the sink in front of you, in front of the entire class, in fact. The energy drinks were flat banned at my college. Good reason. Fizzy drinks don't go well with you. Oh, that sucks. I will admit, while I don't drink energy drinks, I do drink a shit ton of soda and pop. Other fizzies. So I get a lot of caffeine still, just way more spaced out. Our instructors used to they didn't mind you having something like a Coca-Cola or a soda or whatever at lunch, as long as you didn't bring it into the classroom and try and drink it in class at that point. Like, bring any kind of drink like that in the class to the classroom, and it would have been poured out. While we were a military prep college, it was basically just kind of a fitness college. The idea of giving you some basic ideas of how the military works. Like, we used to have to do morning parades and set out all our kit. We had to learn to iron our own gear, all the skills which would help you in basic if you got in. Because that was my goal back in the day. I wanted to... When I first joined up, I knew I wanted to be military, but I wasn't sure what path I wanted to walk in the military. Then I decided, eventually, after consideration, I wanted to be a weapons technician within the Royal Air Force. I even got to selections, but I will admit I failed. I didn't fail well, I would have failed selections, but I freaked out and stopped leaving selections early, which is one of my biggest regrets to this day. And it started the long out of me, never getting anywhere with it in the end. I wanted to later... as much as I regret, leaving early, I'm glad I didn't get into the Air Force. Because not long after, I went on to an exercise called St. George's Dragon. They had the Apache pilots fly, do a quick flyover for us, and that really changed what I wanted to do as a career. I wanted to be an officer pilot after that moment, and if I the only problem was I didn't have the qualifications at the time, UCAS points, and my legs were buggered. So I was working on getting I transferred to a uniform public service course, which with the help of one of my old instructors who actually ran the course, and I went out there to try. I got distinction star in it all, so I did a good job. But unfortunately, my legs were still buggered, so I was just never going to make it to selection. So I gave up on that, unfortunately. My last project is I started my sketchbook at the end of the unit. I drank so much energy drinks just to get it done. Jesus, that cannot... Surely drinking energy drinks and doing art is a really bad combo. Surely you're going to get the shaky hand at some point for it. You're just going to be there trying to draw like this, hold still pencil, please. I need to draw a straight line. What faction does this army belong to? So this mini belongs to the Imperial Guard. She is a special Commissar model. One of their resin ones is she's an actual named character. I know none of the lore behind her. I just thought her model looked neat, and that's why I bought her originally. And she was going to then be the general of my Imperial Guard army. Oh, you already have a shaky hand. Same. Although I'm not used to it. It's the reason I can't. One of the reasons I say I can't draw digital at the moment. I'm not adapted to be able to deal with that in digital, whereas on paper, because I have the tactile feeling, and I control it by having the paper be resistance. Weird. Not that I can draw well anyway. Yeah, it's I could use this excuse to cover me, I suppose. So there we are. Next we're going to try our gold base, I guess. So Retributor armor is what I'm going to use. They say to use Avalanche Sunset. I don't think I have that. So we're just going to break up from the color guide. Control Z helped me a lot with my draw. Yeah, Control Z is an amazing digital, when drawing digital is amazing with all. So the problem is, that even if I'm doing okay, I just want to Control Z all my work, It's actually quite thin already, so I don't think I need to sit further. Going to be a lot of fine work, and I'm already struggling to show you the broad strokes. I'm gonna bring nose. Oh, is that what everyone's saying nose for? My nose is actually getting in. I thought you meant the model's nose. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Oh no, nose reveal. Whatever will I do? My identity is just a snoz. Has been revealed. I say that, but if you want to find my face, there was a place you could find it. I don't know if it still exists there anymore. So I'm not there anymore. But like, if you know, you know, kind of thing. There was a place where a load of us all, once upon a time, all revealed our faces. Heavy showed up with the schnoz emote. Yeah, we need Heavy here with the schnoz emote, right now. Have I read Berserk? I have not read Berserk. I know of it, and I know a lot of people love it, but I'm not sure it's my kind of thing, you know? I might read it one day, but I don't tend to sit down and read a lot of things. And if I do read it, then I will read through all of it in like a couple days to a couple months, depending on how long it is. One Piece, I think I've read in like 1.5 months. And I read all of like Chainsaw Man in like 2 nights. Not that I'm a fan of Chainsaw Man. Like, kind of interested me at the time, and then, I don't know, the way it ended really turned me off from it. Furry, get the furry feet pics, OnlyFans for the face reveal. We will do a face reveal eventually, don't you worry. Like, I'm planning to be a cosplayer now, so, you know, my face is going to be out there either way, so I've decided that I will do some sort of stream in the future with my face on. In the near future too. I just don't know what yet. Because I want to get my bearded dragon on stream too. And now that I'm getting him out and about more. I'm not going to wear the maid outfit on stream. Yeah, there is the maid outfit, yeah. I need to finish fixing the OnlyFans thing and upload the stuff up there. The OnlyFans does technically actually exist. They just won't let me use it because they won't accept my face. I recommend art Berserk because the art and yeah, the guy who did the original artist, bless his soul, rest in peace. The art was insane. I have seen some of it. It is cracked. I know that's where Schnoz is from. I see the books for it everywhere. Whenever I go out to like the local nerd shop now. Like because they're doing all these like complete collection omnibuses things. Actually trying to find them all, and they're expensive as hell. But I'd probably have to read for like a digital piracy reader. Like realistically. Unfortunately, like getting completed manga to read out over here in the UK is sometimes really hard. It really depends on the series. I've been watching Oshi no Ko recently. I'd really like to get some of the manga for that. Actually, I really love designs and art styles so far. But I was really iffy on them at first, but they've grown on me quite a lot. So hard. Why is this model like so much just trim? Like gold trim. Like gold trim which doesn't like have an actual raised edge either, so I can't just like cheat and use that. I actually have to do this by like myself. I hope you guys can slowly start like seeing some of the detail. Just watching it. Like, this is how it's going so far. Whereas I can't keep that on because I got 1A, keep my hand up for it. 2 is my phone, so I can't read chat. It's just reading the manga on a device is just hard for me. I prefer bits. I prefer the devices. A lot less fucking around. Sad I found a League Esports webtoon, but it's turned to one of the foreign webtoon plots so fast. Oh dear. How did they turn like an esports league one into a porn? You know what, I don't want to know. Some things are best left not known. Looking good so far, thank you. I haven't painted minis in a year. At this point, like, it's been so long. I have no idea. Like, I was never any good at it anyway, originally. In fact, I actually used to hate painting minis. I just didn't have the patience for it, but I think streaming it, like, makes it easier for me in a way. I think I want to do like a little diorama, not a diorama, like I want to clear. I'm cleaning out my rooms at the moment, like getting rid of junk and reorganizing things. Like I reorganized my PC in here the other day. I want to reorganize all my shelves because they're filled with shit, like a lot of useless crap which I don't like anymore and just not interested in. So I want to clean it all out and like make a mini shoot. Shelf. Like just like paint minis and put them up there. Like, cause I've got the 3D printer now. We could do a lot with that. Main character's a big woman promo. Oh dear. Okay, I see where that's going. Yeah, that's a shame. Is it like if you want to make a porn plot like cartoon like manga, web manhwa, whatever, webtoon. You know, just go straight for it. Like, don't start a series and then turn it into one later. That's just kind of you've missold everybody on your series, what it's going to be about. Some people will be into it, but you know, go straight out there with it. Type is actually like grassy. So on here. We'll build that up to look a bit more thick and worn out. See? A lot of rough metal colours on it. It's coloured. Still on the hat. Paint on my brush for that. And this is difficult. The bolt gun itself. On the raised edges. I'm gonna have to do like a lot of fixing of this later on. That's fine, you know. That's the way it rolls. Shaking my hand does make it a little bit harder to do these kind of things. Go back on these things as many times. See, Bob Ross would say they're happy that were accidents. They add character and charm to the model. Gonna get a wet a little bit. Okay. Bristles and tassels still. Any sportsman I know is King Avatar. That's one of my thoughts. I remember esports seems like such a weird thing to me. I get that, like, guilds like race to be the first to clear new dungeons when they're added to the games, like the new raids. That kind of makes sense, but after that point, it's like, what are you guys doing? I guess PvP, but PvP is kind of weird to me. I don't know. It's one of those things that come about which just feel very like anti MMO. Me, like when you think MMO, I don't think first thought typically is PvPing other players. You kind of think of something like semi-cooperative, you know. Something like a MOBA, I think would work great and animated really well. I think it'd be difficult to pull off actually. I think from a pure perspective point of view, the amount of people who have been or like have enough perspective on esports to really do like something like that justice is a bit harder. There's like less real stories to pull from, to reference, you know, less people with just genuine experience in it. Like if you do as normal sports, most sports have been around a long time. You can probably there be stories and names you can pull from for inspiration or reference to try and get an idea of how it works, or just being a fan for a long time can help. But you don't really think at first glance esports manga would work and go on for a long time. I got into sports. Yeah, I got into volleyball partly thanks to Haikyuu. Sports can work because I think there's a lot of stuff which people can pull from, and there's so dynamically going on. I think it'd be harder to get the same effect with an esports thing because esports is naturally disconnected from the activity they're doing, you know. I don't think it's impossible. I just think it'd be difficult. Oh, we got a raid. Hello. Sorry, let me open this up. Who is raiding me? Irasepet. Hello, welcome. How are people going? So I've got a little phone, so reading chat is now insane. Welcome to everybody there. Oh, hey, we blue too. Let me give you a shout out. Alex, if you're there, could you give a shout out to Irasepet? I lost my notification. I haven't lost my notification. Says I forgot to put them on for this new scene for doing the painting. Yeah, don't shout Weeblu. Although you know what, fuck it, yeah. Weeblu gets a passive shout out anyway. How's it going, Sepet? How was your stream? What were you up to? Sorry, this is a really scuffed. This is my first time ever doing a painting stream. I'm not good at painting, and the stream setup was way more difficult than I expected, and I didn't test it because I'm an idiot. Unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of just my hand moving back and forth. But let's welcome in the new people. Yeah. Hello, Horace. Hello, Dandy Salad. How are you all? Are you having a good Saturday? Raine World speedrunning in Crosscode. What is Crosscode? I'm familiar with Raine World. I've been playing it myself a little bit recently. I suck at it, and I need Mum to carry me through, aka Weeblue. Because I am completely lost, and I need to ask her for advice about where to go right now. What's your painting? Do you need a figure? 40k? 40k! Yes, this is a Commissar. This is Commissar Severina Raine. So it's a special Commissar that I had when I was making when I was doing Imperial Guards. Unfortunately, I've sold all my Warhammer apart from her now. She is my only remaining Warhammer figure. And that's because she was unbuilt, and I wanted to build and paint her on stream. This is really basic. I'm not good at painting blue. This is my first time painting in a year, in fact. Just wish I could show it off a bit better. You're about to finish putting together a Knight Abominant. Ooh, that sounds fun. You know who worked on any of the big models like the Imperial Knights stuff? I wanted to, but expense. And the amount of people I knew who played Warhammer was rapidly shrinking. And so what I was doing is I was buying an army, we'd play with it for a bit, and then I'd sell it off, and then use the funds to build my next army, and it would usually just be strike kits plus a little bit more. Alright. Need to do some corrections, but let's get some washes on next for some of the areas. We got some Null Oil and we got some Reichland Flesh Shade. Go. Mad expensive kits, but yeah, they're so much fun to build and paint. I really wanted to try it when I was an Elder player. I really loved the Elder Knight equivalent. I can't remember what it's called. Is it a Wraith Knight? I want to say. Even like, because Wraith Lords are the smaller ones, right? You can tell I haven't been a Warhammer player for a while now. Right, let's get some Reichland Flesh Shade in first. Small and easy. Yeah, the Wraith Knights are gorgeous. They're like, I tended to avoid. I started as a Space Marine player originally years ago, when I was a kid and I first got into it. I've played some Elder. I've played some Tau. I was going to play Imperial Guard, but I, dropped the game at that point, and I played some Thousand Suns. And the first time I dropped Warhammer, I was just getting into building some Necrons. So I had two armies I started collecting and building, and then just never played the game again. I don't think I can see myself getting into Warhammer again, but if I want Warhammer figures now, don't tell G-dubs, but I 3D print, and every model that exists in Warhammer pretty much exists as a free 3D print file out there online now. G-dubs wouldn't be happy with that, but I don't play their game anymore, so I'm not gonna spend a disproportionate amount on their plastic crack, Get a car on this belt still. We should have waited to wash on that, but the painting seems the most fun. I used to hate the painting, so a lot of players I found are like a trifecta, right? So let me raise the camera back up again because I'm painting up higher again. Because there's three parts of Warhammer. There's building, there's painting, and there's playing. And most players will, I find, like two parts of the trifecta. I was a fan of the building, and I was a fan of the playing, but I hated the painting. That was a passion. But a lot of the friends I played with loved the playing and they loved the painting. And many of them didn't like the building. So when we did big group project ones, I would often do a lot of the building. Not that I've tried doing any of the fancy building stuff, although I would have loved to. I just not that ambitious, I suppose, when it comes to the building. I just enjoy putting the sets together. So for those of you who don't do this stuff, what I'm doing now is applying like a wash. This is more like a very liquid paint. It's just going to sit into the recesses and you can already see it. Get camera to focus. Come on, buddy, focus for me. Need to focus, camera. Sorry, it's an also focusing camera. On the sweet spot. Let me get the light on, in fact, as well. How if I got light on it? But you can now see some of the stuff is starting to pop a little bit. It's very hard to show you with a shit camera and poor lighting. But as that wash dries, it gives it a little bit of pop. Distance. Show the setup areas out there for stuff like this. There is definitely setups for stuff like this out there. 100%. A lot of people do this kind of thing. Did I send you the new Star Wars Tabletop Legion? That looks to be a new version. Yes, Star Wars Fracture Point, right? It's very much a skirmish game. So if we looked at Star Wars Legion like Warhammer 40k in scale, Flashpoint would looks more like it's like Infinity, another mini game, which is about having just a small force of a few minis. We generally call them skirmish games because you're not fielding with full armies, you're fielding with like small raiding forces almost. So you're out there having a quick skirmish rather than an actual war. No? I need to see some reviews on it because some of them have popped up. I've seen like a unit like they got droids in it, for instance, but like a droid will be like 1B1 mini would be actually for like 3B1s all on one base kind of thing. To like make so they're less shit, you know. This wash is going to be especially important on our base actually. This should give us a little bit more depth on our terrain. It doesn't look so blended together. And no wash on giving this depth up. Yeah. Important before I add the other details. I'll probably have to go over some of it again with wash. Like usually wash some bits you want to wash later. Probably should have washed this later, but while I've got the wash out, I may as well do it, you know. A lot of what this mini is going to be is with black. What I learned recently is you can't go darker than black. You don't build layers on it. What you do is you do a lot of edge highlighting instead, which is a skill. A lot of fine work. So we're not going to do a lot of edge highlighting today unless we start running out of time, or like we start running out of things to do while still having time. Now we've washed. I'm not stinky, I swear. It's not that kind of wash. I'm gonna start doing some of the belt and other bits, like some of the other details we've missed. So we're I don't have a base color for this, so we're just going straight in with Taylor Brown. Highlight with some other stuff later. I got a mix of like Vallejo and Citadel paints. I own a lot of Citadels from collecting like the magazines and being a Warhammer player. Like, you know, that's the stuff you get in the store, so it's just the stuff that most people use until they like learn about other brands and which ones are better. Find, you know, the paints that they like. I really like Vallejo stuff because it's the little dropper. It was my first time using it today, and I poured way too much stuff out, but it was nice to like have kind of control, you know. This is actually going to look quite similar to the gold, which I didn't expect. Kind of disheartening, but I have to do a lot of fixing with black, because we've overlapped the black a lot. We've got a bit too much water on the brush too. A little bit too runny. I've thinned the paint a little too much, you know. It'll take some time to dry. Where else could be applied for? All the boot stuff just seems to be black and blue, so it's grey. So I'm gonna let's start with the breastplate, I guess. We're gonna first add one more corrective layer of lead belcher. We've splashed some over. Belcher gone. I can't see shit in here. The lighting is so bad. I've got a window coming in, so maybe I'm gonna have to like change the angle of the like where the table's set up next time. It's getting the microphone with it too. I'm currently shiny hunting, so replies will be slow, helping me not rage for off. I don't. I swear, like all my friends who play Pokemon, you're all insane. I could not shiny hunt like you guys. Like it would drive me insane. I find the idea of shiny hunting so kind of boring. I've seen you all do it, and the amount of patience you guys have just sitting around and like praying for Pokemon of the color that you want. You're insane. I could never do it myself. I have no patience. If you're shiny hunting, you already have more patience than me. Like, there's no way around it. I wouldn't even attempt it because of it. We've corrected there. So, next. See what silvers we've got. We want to probably get it. I got Storm Host, which is like gonna be our really like light one. And Runefang Steel. Perfect. Let's start with some rings. What do you mean you got a shiny Trubbish? Yeah, I got a shiny Trubbish by accident. There's a difference between finding a shiny on like while you're just grinding XP versus going out your way to like get a shiny. Honestly, for me as well, I think the idea of shiny hunting is a little against the spirit. Oh dear, this paint. Oh. A lot of my paints are really old, so the various conditions they're in is not great because they weren't stored properly. That's my bad. This is really runny. I don't know if it's going to paint. How long have we been going? Wow, shit, we've been going for an hour and a half. Flies. Okay. Runny, but a bit more paint-like now. I don't know if this is gonna work, guys. There's a Mandalorian unit in Legion. Fuck, I want to buy it right now, but they're out of stock. Mandalorians are kind of neat. Your friend was telling me about how they hate that their lore kind of got ruined. Obviously, for those of you, Star Wars had a lot of its lore rewritten once Disney took over. Like, Mandalorians were like more of a... not really doing anything that pain, is it? Okay, so Runefang Steel is completely out of the question. It's completely fucked. That's a shame. Shit happens. Let's just see if we can get some of that off then. But it's like it at least dried on straight away, so we're just gonna have to go with Stormhouse Silver, which we would usually use for edge highlighting. Don't got any other sort of metal colours, unfortunately, we can use. Maybe what I can do is... oh, this isn't even looking good. God damn. They're a warrior race, and I love that, and no Star Wars fans have it. Yeah, that's true. It's, they were just mostly unhappy that, you know, you could be a Mandalorian of any race before, whereas now, like, Mandalorian is a specific racial thing. Like, you are a Mandalorian by birth, kind of thing. And you know what? I'm kind of with him on that. That does seem like a bit of a step back from a story perspective, but I suppose it's more because of how they want to... with the Mandalorian series and stuff like that now, it's probably just easier for them on the TV show, like, scale and budget, for them to just represent one alien race if they can. Like, reduce the amount that they have to actually showcase off and stop, like, writer creep and things like that. Get big bold areas of it. Going to have. What we'll want to try and do is we'll want to try and blend it later with our wash. Rise a little bit. Luckily, because we've got some nice thin layers of it. Bit long. Over here we can edge this stuff. Sword. very rough. Very bad edge highlighting. That was more just like blobbing it onto the... If we had another colour, we could give it a bit more depth. Maybe we don't right now. We're actually gonna... Brush isn't fine enough for doing this. I don't think I've got a finer brush that's like in good condition. Like I've got a finer brush here. It looks like knackered and yeah. What I'll have to do is I'll just have to go back over some of the silver, like highlighting with gold again to try and correct it a little bit. Do you actually like highlight gold with silver most of the time? Not sure if everybody, like how many of you know about that, because some of you, I imagine, haven't painted minis before. Not that I'm the most experienced, but take everything from what I say with granted, or with like a pinch of salt, because I am not a good painter, and I only know a few things taught by other people, and I don't know how. Really difficult to edge highlight all this gold. I actually don't know what colour the skulls on her shoulders are, because they're white. We don't have any white on us at the moment. Now let's off. Get the non-oil back out. A pro and a con for digital artists don't need to buy resupplies if ours break. If ours breaks, it's a big payment to replace. Yeah. Like, if your tablet wears out, screen scratches, the pen breaks, whatever, they're expensive as hell. But otherwise, like digital, infinite ink, infinite canvas, but a lot more upfront cost, I'd say. Which is another con, but the unlimited freedom that you can get with it, so that's a pretty trade-off. So that's not going to blend as I'd hope, but okay. It works as a highlight for someone as bad as me. Get the light back on. Next we're going to go with the face. I'm not doing this in any particular order because I don't know the best way to do this, so I'm just doing it as I've got paints and how I feel. One would be Cadian flesh tone. We don't have that, so what we do have is heavy skin tone. Vallejo. Grab this brush because it's getting dry. Getting too wet. I can see the pen marks on my tablet, but it's still ground. Yeah. Eventually the pen marks will cause issues. I know people say about using a screen protector, but I don't use a screen protector on mine because, like, the more layers you put on top of your screen, the further away your pen from where you're drawing is. And that can be kind of awkward and difficult. Oh, tiny bit of water to thin it. Hopefully no more schnoz cam. Right. 80. But the other stuff was a base tone, and then use the wash to highlight the recesses. We'll probably do another wash. Go, but we might have applied it on a little too thick. Heavy-handed. See. Like, I don't do skin very often because I used to do a lot of guys all in suits who were all elegans. So skin is like a colour skin stuff I don't like dealing very often. It's a learning experience for me to be skin tones. But so far, looking quite nice. We'll give that a little bit of time to dry, and then we'll get another shade of Reclam Flesh shade on it. Fortunately, we've had, because I'm only doing the 1 mini and I didn't bring out my bolt action stuff. We're wasting a lot of paint. But, yeah, that's part of the process. We have a shit ton of these model bottles by the looks of it. Yeah, plus and bubbles, and it's and yeah, air bubbles are a pain if you have them in them. The shiny cloth doesn't appear soon. I'm not nuking them with Venus. Bro, with Blue, don't nuke England. Nuke somebody else. I'm here in England. You can't nuke me. Typing soon. Don't want to get nuked before the debut. Yeah, that's true. You don't nuke before Blake's had their debut. Saying that, we are going to be playing Starship Troopers, so maybe we're going to be saving in the England, Blake. You know, maybe it's our job to protect England from the bug threat. Pause. Blue is the brain. She's the alien, and it's a brain. Why am I getting nuked? She's the brain bug. Like we now know what must be done. Yeah, exactly. Only good bug is a dead bug. Sorry, Blue. We need to do it. The bug menacing days cannot be left unchecked. Damn Blueians. That's a nice layer of wash. And all we want next is our other skin tone, finally. Where are you? Where are you? You are here, flat flesh. This should be our highlight colour. But even less of that on there. Good. Less paint. Let's spin that off of our brush a bit. Because all we want for this is really the larger areas and highlights. We don't want this in every crevice and gap. We want this covering a lot of the bigger, bolder areas. This is sort of our highlight colour, so to speak. The bit which, like, a bit more colour to them. Oh yeah, put some more water in that, thin it out a bit more. There we go. So, I don't know how well you can see it. The camera doesn't like to focus on close things. This is a really shit camera. Oh, did we get Snow's cam again? God damn. Well, you guys are going to be intimately familiar with my Snows. Do not eat my nosebleed. What the hell? Alright. What next? I guess take the base red and we do some corrections. The figure, you fuck. No, you can't eat my figure. I've been working hard on this. I've had to do green stuff, fixing, like, stand so much shit. I've had to like find a way to get this all set up. Like, I've worked hard. Don't eat my figure, please. Resin's not good for you anyway. Alex, no, do not consume. I was about to say something I would have regretted. I was about to say I will consume your ass. But for some people, that's not going to be a threat. Maybe hit myself in the face with the webcam. It's gonna be trickier because she's got the braid. Once you've applied your non-oil, you want to usually go over again and like just get it on the high areas. Because the non-oil will bring the shit sort of colour down with it. I'm gonna add a little bit more, you know, try to bring it back to life a little bit more. Bring the red in a bit more. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so we're learning a lot of things for the next IRL stream. I need to bring over a lot of my UI elements because I forgot to bring those over. Need to sit the camera on the other side of me. Has the microphone been okay actually? That one was like I just slid that microphone around. I've made no adjustments other than to switch it to 360 audio mode. I'm assuming it's okay because no one's complained about it so far. Apart from maybe hearing my voice. That's usually the number one complaint I get about the microphone. My voice. Yeah, I got some more reds actually as well, to try and bring this out a bit. So we've got two reds. We have Bloody Red and Rojo Visceral. We're going to start with the Visceral. Try and give it that deeper first. Okay. I definitely am going to be buying more Vallejo paints from now on. It's such a game changer. Going a little stiff, but yeah, getting there. Slowly but surely the model is coming together. This is just a nice bit of a bolder red. Really like this red. I was expecting it to be a bit more like darker and purpley, but works. Really like how bright and colourful it is. Next one's going to be even brighter. That'll be our sort of highlight red. There we go, and we didn't ruin our other red. Perfect. The daylight is slowly changing angle, making it worse because my room lights just aren't. I angled them not for doing mini painting. I angled them so they wouldn't like disturb my monitors and that. They're up quite high. Fortunately, the lighting is getting worse and worse, so I might call this again soon. How have people found this so far though? Like, are you interested in seeing more mini painting? Like, is this the type of content you guys actually enjoy? I'm assuming some of you are liking it because you've stuck around. Be really appreciative to all the raiders who've come and stuck around so far. Like, it's always a nice surprise when you see viewers from a raid stick around. It tells you you're doing something right as a streamer, you know? Looks fun and edible. I'll take that as a you like it. I will apologise again, the camera is terrible and I clearly did not set it up properly. I had no idea what I was doing with that. Next time, if we do it again, if people want me to do it again, I will have a better camera setup. Can't promise the video quality will be any better because this camera claimed to be a 1080p. Yeah. Fortunately, it was like, that was like 1080p in technicality only. The quality definitely doesn't match up, but that's what you get for buying a £15 webcam, you know? Yeah, bloody red. I'll try and do these, I want to say weekly, but it depends on when I get things printed and done. I'm thinking about joining like a 3D printing subscription service where they like send you STLs every week. Just like at work bugs. Work bugs that are in the Starship Troopers universe to see what might show up in the game. And there's a jungle spider bite. Oh, fuck that. They haven't got like all the common ones yet, so I know tank bugs and that aren't in the game. I think it literally is just like grunts and tigers and maybe and the mortar bugs. Moment. There's a lot of stuff they're still adding to this game. Like the main menu has like several buttons which are just grayed out and don't work currently. Yeah, warrior bugs mostly. Yeah, it's a lot of the straightforward stuff. I'm sure we'll see more of it as like it's an early access game. It develops. It's really nice to have a Starship Trooper shooter game because before, if you wanted to play a Starship Trooper shooter, you'd have to go over to Squad and play the Squad mod. But trying to find people to play it with, apparently, from what I've been told by one of my friends, is quite nightmarish. A lot of people actually play the Squad mod of it. It's a nice bold red. I really like that. Gonna need like another layer or two, but I looked it up and it's made by the people that did Squad. Are you sure it's made by the people that did Squad? What is already under active development, so it'd be weird for them to go ahead and make a mod for it while still actually being known for being publicly very behind on their development cycle. Like it's actually quite controversial in the squad community how behind schedule they are. If they are the ones that did make the mod indeed, then that's a little surprising. That would ruffle a few feathers. Gonna add like a nice gold or silver buttons to this eventually, like to it. Yeah, to finish the look. But that's a way off. We're still a long way from finishing the look. Offworld Industries. Offworld Industries has a few different dev teams. To be fair, Offworld is a bit more of a publisher with just a lot of different dev teams under it. Possible someone else in Offworld. Like, do you mean the new game or do you mean the squad mod specifically? Actually, that would probably clarify something. Oops. We're not actually trying to cover like every bit with the new red. We want to keep it like as like a lighter area on it. I'm just looking on Steam Dev. Yeah, unfortunately, Offworld is one of those companies which is when you try and find them on a dev page, it's really complicated. Like Steam's like two dev and two publisher system is not always very correct or accurate. They often be simplified down, often to the publisher page. This type of like fine highlight work is tricky. But add a gold trim this eventually as well. These colours, cuffs. I get all these high areas. I am doing a better job than what I was expecting to do, considering I hadn't painted for so long, to be honest. I'm actually quite happy with how the Commissar is turning out. What are you guys' thoughts so far? Still a lot of things that need to be done, and a lot of it is detailing and edge highlighting, which I'll probably buy a new brush between now and the next stream, and next stream we'll probably edge highlight it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off some of the tassels and some of the stuff on the base. The, not tassels, what are they called? Purity seals. Back in my day, I used to remember all the names of this shit. Now I'm forgetful. Kind of can tell I've not thought about some of this stuff in a long time. That's okay. What we remember, what we're interested in changes a lot. I still love Warhammer. I may not be a Warhammer player today because being like the online community get gutted and just not wanting to keep up with the minigame anymore. Like I played Warhammer the minigame since I was 12. Like I want to play other games now. Like I want to play Dropship Commander and Drops Fleet Commander. Star Wars Legion, not just other mini games. Because it's time for change. Gotta go take a nap now, enjoy your stream. Thanks for coming along, Alex. It was nice having you. I hope you had a nice time. I will catch you up. I'll catch up with you some other time, I'm sure. Have a good nap. Alright, let's get some stuff on this. But actually, I don't really know how I want to do the base at the moment. But actually, I think I'm gonna... It's been 2 hours. We've made some nice progress with this. Let me show off the model, and then... Does anyone here have any suggestions for raids? Because without looking at my follow list right now, I'm not sure who is streaming and who is not. So, let's get the lights going. So, what do you think so far, chat? God is here. I will have a look, see anyone I normally raid on my on there at the moment. So let me just for a bit. So you guys have something to look at. Right. Turn around. Pull me back here. Please don't eat my Commissar. Sorry, every time I lean on my desk, because the camera stand is attached to the desk, it's going to bob up and down. So, Gardezio's... What are they up to? Yeah, there. Ah. Alrighty. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a fun little experiment. We will definitely do some more of this in the future. I'm gonna clean up and then maybe do some piano practice or something now. You'd say about maybe doing piano on stream, but by moving my setup around might be a bit too awkward right now. So say hello to Guard for me. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to probably raid and run. I don't like doing it, but I have to do it a lot. So thank you once again. Step out if you're there. Thank you for the raid. Very much appreciated, and I hope some of you consider coming back and maybe leaving a follow in the for it all. Till then, say hello to Azia for me, as I said, and I will catch you later today after Blake's debut. Bye bye.